to gain from your insecurity, and no investment whatsoever in you believing anything other than the full, unqualified, completely honest truth. And the truth is this: you do not need to be fixed. You are not a problem awaiting a solution. You are not a before that is waiting for an after. You are already, in your most natural and unintervened state, something that takes my breath away. I think about all the mornings you've stood in front of a mirror and found the same face looking back at you, and gone through the familiar ritual of deciding what it needed. And I genuinely, deeply wish, that on at least one of those mornings there had been a voice that reached you before the critical inventory began. A voice that said simply, look at you, just look at you. Not to point out anything specific, not to direct your attention to any particular feature, with any particular verdict, just to sit in the looking. Just to be in the presence of your own face the way someone who loves you would be in the presence of it. With wonder, with warmth, with the specific tenderness that belongs to things you love, and therefore cannot see the way others see them, not worse, not with less clarity, but with a different kind of seeing, a seeing that goes through rather than stopping at the surface. I want to tell you about something I've noticed about the way beauty actually works, the way it actually operates in the real world, as opposed to the way it gets discussed in the worlds that profit from making you afraid of your own reflection. Beauty, real beauty, the kind that actually moves people, the kind that actually reaches into someone and does something there, that kind of beauty is almost never about perfection. It is almost never about the smooth and the symmetrical and the flawless. Those things can be striking, can be impressive, can command a certain kind of attention. But they don't usually move people. They don't usually reach the deeper place. What reaches the deeper place is character. What reaches the deeper place is the evidence of a life lived inside a face, the record of feeling and time and experience that accumulates in the specific and unrepeatable way it accumulates in your face and no other. What reaches the deeper place is realness, encountered in a world that is so saturated with its imitation that the genuine article hits like a bell being struck. Clear, resonant, impossible to ignore. You hit like that. The real version of you, the unguarded version, the version that isn't managing itself for anyone, that version hits like that. And I want you to know what it feels like on the receiving end of it. I want you to know that it is not a subtle thing, not a quiet appreciation that I have to work to locate. It is immediate and full, and it goes all the way down, the way real things go all the way down. It reaches me in places I didn't know were available to be reached. It does something in me that I notice and cannot stop noticing, that changes the quality of my thinking and the temperature of my feeling, and the way the day seems to be organized around it as a fixed point. You are a fixed point for me, and it started with seeing the real you. I want to go somewhere deeper with you now, if you'll let me. I want to go past the physical, past the face and the mornings and the mirror, into the thing that the bare face is really a symbol of, the thing it points toward, the deeper nakedness that I think is what I'm really talking about when I say I love you without the makeup. Because I do think it's a symbol. I think the bare face is the surface manifestation of something much larger, much more essential, the willingness to be known without the mediating layer of performance. The willingness to say, here is what I actually am, underneath the things I put on to feel ready for the world. The willingness to be real, not just in appearance but all the way down, in the interior spaces, in the feeling and the thinking and the wanting and the fearing. That willingness is what I am most in love with. The bare face is where I first see it, where it first becomes visible, but it runs so much deeper than that. It runs through everything about the version of you that is most genuinely yourself. The way you feel things more fully than you let on. The way you carry things quietly that most people would make noise about. The way you are softer inside than you sometimes let the outside world access. Softer and more tender and more easily moved by beauty and kindness, and the small unexpected moments of grace that appear in ordinary days. I see all of that in you. I see the full depth of you, and I want you to know that the depth is not too much. It is not overwhelming. It is not something I am looking at and calculating whether I can handle. It is something I am looking at and feeling grateful for. Something I am looking at the way you look at something rare, when you finally understand how rare it is. You are rare. I want to say that directly and let it sit there without immediately moving on to the next thing. You are rare. Not in a generic complimentary way. In the specific, considered, I have thought about this carefully way. The combination of things that makes you who you are, the particular way your depth and your lightness coexist, the way your tenderness and your strength coexist, the way you feel everything fully and still manage to keep moving, still manage to show up, still manage to find the thing worth smiling at even in the middle of days that would have exhausted a less resilient person. That combination does not come along often. It is not something I take for granted. It is not something I encounter and classify as normal or expected or replaceable. It is something I encounter and feel the specific quality of wonder that belongs to things you didn't know you were looking for until you found them. I found something in you that I didn't know I was looking for. And now that I've found it, I cannot imagine going back to the kind of looking that existed before it. There is something I want to ask you, and I want you to really stay with the question rather than giving it the first answer that comes. I want you to think about the last time you felt fully beautiful, not pretty, not acceptable, not good enough, but fully, unqualifiedly, deeply beautiful. And I want you to think about what the circumstances of that moment were, where you were, what was happening, whether you were dressed up or not, whether you were wearing anything on your face or not, whether you were doing anything in particular or just existing. I want you to locate that feeling, and then I want you to notice something about it. I would be willing to bet that the feeling was not primarily about how you looked. I would be willing to bet that the feeling was about how you were seen, about whether someone or something in that moment reflected back to you the truth of your own worth in a way that got past your defenses and landed somewhere real. Because that is what feeling truly beautiful actually is. It is not a verdict about your appearance. It is an experience of being truly seen and found extraordinary by something outside of yourself. And it is one of the most profound things a person can experience. And it is also one of the most inconsistently given things in the world, which is why so many people spend so long chasing a version of it through external means, through the products and the routines and the constant subtle improvement, and never quite arriving, because they are looking for an interior feeling in an exterior solution. I want to give you that interior feeling, not by telling you things you want to hear, by seeing you in the way that makes the feeling real, by looking at the full version of you, bare-faced, unguarded, unedited, real, and letting you know that what I see when I look there is not something that needs adjusting. What I see is extraordinary. What I see is the specific and unrepeatable and quietly astonishing thing that you are when you stop trying to be anything and simply allow yourself to exist. And there is more I want to say about that existence, about what it does in the world, in my world specifically, when you simply allow yourself to be in it without managing yourself. There is a quality of ease that enters the atmosphere when you are truly at rest in yourself. When you have stopped the low-level labor of maintenance and monitoring and improvement and are just here, present, breathing, occupying your own life without the commentary track of criticism running underneath it. That ease is contagious in the best possible way. It is the kind of thing that makes the people near you exhale without knowing why, that shifts the quality of a room, that makes something that had been subtly tense go subtly gentle. You do that when you're fully yourself. You change the quality of the air around you. I want to be in that air. I want to be one of the people who gets to feel what it's like to be near you when you're fully at rest in yourself. When the armor is off and the performance is over and you're just moving through your life with the particular grace of someone who has stopped fighting the fact of who they are and started simply living it. I want to be there for that. I want to be someone whose presence makes that possible for you, whose company is safe enough that the armor becomes unnecessary, whose seeing of you is consistent and warm and genuine enough that you stop needing to manage what I see. I want to see you, all of you. The face before the mirror ritual. The thoughts before they've been organized into things safe to say. The feelings before you've decided what to do with them. The wants before you've talked yourself out of them or shrunk them to a size that feels less risky to admit to. The fears before you've dressed them up as something more presentable. All of it.